Greetings, Earthlings. Welcome to Planet and Alien here on YouTube. We're a little alien, or well, whichever, you know. I don't know why I keep saying that, but whatever, you know. This might be your first video you're watching of me, so gotta put you in the loop, you know. I always start doing that now. I can't help it. Anyways, okay, moving on. So as you can tell from the title of this video, it is Riverdale related. I mean, there is no surprise in that. Which, before I spill the tea and sip the coffee, that's my thing now. I'm gonna have that made into a shirt. Spill the tea, but sip my coffee. That's my thing. Okay, so we're talking about Riverdale. Surprise, surprise, I know. Well, anyways, although I have been uploading other videos, not just Riverdale, so hello. But anyways, before I get into what I'm going to talk about, I got something yesterday at the bookstore. This was meant to be. Now, anywhere I go, like, that could have Riverdale stuff, I go right for the Riverdale. Like, it's so bad. I am so obsessed with Riverdale and having everything Riverdale related, except for some things like, this huge, like, life-size pillow of Archie Andrews, which seems like a little too much, because could you imagine me in college with a life-size pillow of KJ Appa, Archie Andrews, just spooning with the pillow, you know? This is my boyfriend. Like, I couldn't go that far. But basically, I buy, why did I say that again when I was saying it already? Okay, anyways, basically, I buy anything Riverdale related because I just love Riverdale. So, I was in this bookstore, and I was looking at the comics, I was looking everywhere. So finally, I was like, you know what, I saw this girl, and I didn't know she worked there, but then I was like, I think she does, and I was like, you know what, let me just freaking ask her, and I was like, do you work here? And she's like, yeah, and I was like, do you have any magazines, because, you know, maybe they had some Riverdale magazines. They didn't, and I was like, do you have anything, Riverdale or Archie comics related? And she's like, yes, we do, and she took me to the section, and they had Archie comics, but they had one Riverdale thing, just one left. And that's how you know it's meant for me. It is meant to be. Like, literally, it had a ton of it had a ton of comics, and there was, like, 5 or more of each of these comics, but there was one of this Riverdale thing that I'm about to show you, and it was meant to be. Like, seriously, it was meant to be. That's how I feel. It was meant to be. Like, I was not leaving the store without it, but it's this. I didn't even know they came out with this. Like, oh my god. Really? Really? Oh my god, I'm just so in love with Riverdale. I'm so sad. My life has come to such a sad point. Oh my god. So we have, wait. Oh, each one has their own issue. Like, issue 5 is about Reggie. Where's an issue 6 is about Betty. Let's see. Issue 7, Dilton Doily. Ooh, interesting. So yeah, this is the back. As you can see, it has the whole cast, Riverdale. And then this is the front. And it's just like this. Basically, it's comic. It's the comic book, basically. And, I mean, I can't pass it up. It was meant to be. So, I got this, yeah. And I'm just gonna, like, love it. No. Yeah. So, anyways, let's get into this video. So, okay. And I'm gonna insert some video because okay. Let me get comfy. Okay. So, there's, on Instagram stories yesterday, I believe. Yes, it was yesterday. On Instagram stories, there was a video of KJ in the makeup chair, shirtless, and one of the makeup artists had serpent tattoos. And everyone was like, oh my god, is Archie Andrews becoming a serpent? And so far, I've only heard bad things about if he becomes a serpent. Like, I haven't heard anyone say, like, ooh, I want him to be a serpent, you know? I've only heard bad things, which is understandable, because I said a little bit on my Twitter, but I wanted to make, like, a full little video, because, like, I don't know, right now, it's like, okay, like, when I first saw that, I was like, okay, they could just be playing us. Maybe they're not really getting the tattoo. Maybe that's just how it looked. But then I seen another video from today, I believe, because I don't know if it was late last night or today, but it was one of their Instagram stories, and I believe it was Charles Melton, and he was going into the makeup trailer where KJ was sitting shirtless, you know, because that's vital, because if he's shirtless and getting a tattoo, that makes sense. You know, if you're shirtless, something's happening to your body. Well, anyways, he goes into the trailer, you know, and he's filming KJ, and one of the makeup artists who was holding the Serpent tattoos, mind you, is on, let's see, if he's sitting, when you go in, he's sitting, she's on the left side, and she's doing something on his arm right here, but she's covering it with a paper towel, and I'm like, he's becoming a serpent. This is what's happening, isn't it? He's becoming a serpent. He is. Because, like, at first when I saw the serpent tattoos, I was like, okay, maybe, but maybe not. You know, that's not for definite. It's just, you know, a little rumor, conspiracy theory, whatever you want to call it. He might become a serpent. But then seeing, like, him in the chair shirtless and this girl who was holding the serpent tattoos doing something right here and making sure to cover it so, you know, it's not on film, just further proved to me that Archie may in fact become a serpent. Which, I mean, why don't we just make everyone a fucking serpent? Like, okay, first off, let me say this. There should be no sides. The serpents, the bulldogs, north side, south side, you know what? There should be no sides. They should be as one, you know? That's how I feel. Now, with Jughead, the Serpents has always been a part of his life, whether he liked it or not. His father has always been in the Serpents, you know. And eventually he got into the Serpents and he found this home, this family, you know, that he never had. You know, these people that would always just be there and would always stand by him. Of course he has his friends, but the Serpents, that's his home. That's where he's meant to be. And the same thing goes for Cheryl. I truly believe that Cheryl being made a serpent was the right choice because she has no home. She has no real family, you know? And I think her being a serpent, that gives her that home, that family, and her being a serpent makes so much sense, and it really adds something to her storyline, and I think it's going to be so interesting to see her as a serpent because, I mean, it's just so, and it's not just because of Tony, because you got to remember that when they were protesting the Pickens Day thing, even Cheryl herself was like, here, to her mom, Penelope, handed her the candy apple and went up to the front to protest with them. So she didn't join the Serpents just for Tony. She was already on their side at the Pickens Day thing, because, I mean, this dude that we're celebrating massacred a bunch of people for fucking land when you could have just like asked them to leave or something. Like, anyways, so you can't say, oh, well, she joined the Serpents because Tony. No, yeah, that might play a factor, but also she's already stood by the Serpents since that day they protested, you know, because she knew it was wrong, and her being a Serpent just makes so much sense. Like, I can't explain it, but it just makes sense. You know, this is the path for Cheryl, you know, I really do. Because her path up until the Serpents has just been so up and down, and she's just had so many problems, and so many things have happened to her, and now, you know, it's like she gets to just be part of something bigger, and be included, you know, because even though she might come off as a bitch, she still wants to be included, she still wants to be like have friends. She still cares. She doesn't have like no feelings at all. Like, come on, she's human. So that made sense. Now, Betty, I've said this multiple times, that will never make sense. Betty has so much of her own storyline that is yet to be completely explored, and so much more to come for her storyline that it just doesn't make sense to make her a serpent. Because first of all, she wouldn't even care about the Serpents if it wasn't for her boyfriend, Jughead, you know, if it wasn't for Jughead being her boyfriend. Let's be honest, it's true, guys, come on. She wouldn't have cared about the Serpents, she wouldn't have cared about the Serpents if she wasn't dating Jughead, and that's just the tea. So I'm sipping my coffee. But, yeah. So Betty she has her own path. Like, first off, we have her dealing with her mental illness. We have her dealing with her dad turning out to be a serial killer and this darkness that runs in the family. We have her sister who's in a cult. We have her brother Charles who's supposedly dead. We have Chick coming back in the picture. We have Alice kind of losing it a little bit since she just found out her husband is a serial killer and murdered a teenager, you know, and all this stuff. So, I mean, there's a lot going on with her storyline. Like, she has her own storyline, not just about her darkness, but about other things too, her family life. I mean, fucking shit's going crazy in her family life. So, like, and then she has to deal with this new neighbor who wants to eagerly befriend Betty, which I still find so fucking weird. Plus, she's supposed to be, like, in her early 20s, and it's like, what, okay, whatever, you know, like, whatever. Cold. No, oh my god, she's probably trying to fucking recruit her. That's what she's trying to do. No, but, yeah, Betty, it just, making her a serpent just because of Jughead would be so fucking stupid. Like, seriously, that's taking Betty and Bughead, to the worst level possible. I'm sorry. I just don't feel like Betty should be a serpent. Like, that's not her storyline, and it shouldn't be her storyline just because she's dating Jughead. Like, it doesn't need to revolve around her and Jughead all the time. It should revolve around her and her storyline, Jughead and his storyline. Everyone has their own things to deal with. Now, Archie. I don't know, like, how I feel about it just yet. Like, I don't know. I guess because until it's real, I guess, or we get really confirmation, I guess then I'll believe it. Like, not believe it, but then I guess it'll really hit me. But right now, I just feel like if they do make Archie a serpent, I mean, it's like, being a serpent isn't just being a serpent. Like, not everyone can just get a tattoo and they're magically a serpent, you know? Like, you have to go through the recruiting, the process, you know, like Jughead did. And I mean, I know that, of course, Archie and Hiram are going against each other because, you know, Hiram framed Archie's murder, and of course, the Serpents hate Hiram Lodge, and they're on Archie's side, of course. Bulldogs, you know, are on his side, too. So, of course, you know, the Serpents are involved in Archie and Hiram's thing, but that doesn't mean he has to be a serpent. Because, like, the thing is, Archie has his own story. Like I said, right now, he's being framed for murder. He's up against Hiram for trying to kill his dad. I mean, he's dealing with the Black Hood thing happening. He's dealing with a lot of shit. His mind has been warped for so long. I mean, he's dealing with a lot of shit right now. And I just don't think him becoming a serpent makes sense. Like, I don't think Archie should be a serpent. I'm going to be totally honest. These are the people I see being a serpent. Two of them are already serpents, which Jughead was already a given. But the other one was Cheryl. Her I see being a serpent, and she is a serpent, and it makes sense. The other one is Veronica. I could honestly see Veronica being a serpent. And yes, I do ship her with Jughead, and I do hope they get together, and I do believe they're endgame. But I could see Veronica being a serpent. I honestly could see her being a serpent, you know? So, I mean, those are the three I could definitely see, you know, being a serpent. But Archie, it's like, I don't know, it just doesn't vibe well with me. Because it's like, why is he becoming a serpent? Like, is it because, you know, like, I just don't see the point in making him a serpent. I don't. Like, it just doesn't make sense. It's not Archie's path. Like Betty, it's not Betty's path. It's not Archie's path. You know, they all have their own stuff they're dealing with and their own path. And I don't know why, like, for all we know, he's not a serpent. But if he is, he shouldn't be. Because it just doesn't make sense. And secondly, you know, being a serpent is more than having a tattoo, you know? And I just don't think the serpent world is what Archie should be in, you know? Like, of course, he can be friends with the serpents. Of course, he can hang out with them, whatever, be on their side. But that doesn't mean he has to be a serpent himself. So, like, I'm not really for the whole serpent thing, because it just doesn't make sense with Archie. Like, I'm sorry, I just don't see how making him a serpent, like, I'm thinking, like, oh, they're making him a serpent, so when he's in court, you know, it's like he has the serpent. But it's like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, there's just no reason to have Archie be a serpent. There is just no reason. It doesn't make sense. It's not the path that he's supposed to go down. It's not part of his storyline. And I just don't, like, I'm just not for it, you know? Like, I don't know. Like, it's just, it bugs me a little, because it's like, dude, like, you're making everyone serpents at this point, and it's like, serpents is a lot more, like I said, than a tattoo. Like, and I'm not saying Archie wouldn't be an amazing serpent, and he wouldn't be, like, fucking right there, front and center with them, but it's just, Archie shouldn't be a serpent. That's just not his story. That's not the way he should be going. That's all I'm saying, is if they make Archie a legit serpent, like, that's just not for him. Like, I'm sorry, it's just not, you know? Like, it doesn't make sense to make Archie a serpent. It doesn't. So, that's what I have to say on the whole Archie becoming a serpent, maybe. The other thing I want to talk about is the pool party. So, apparently, in episode 1 of season 3, they're having a pool party. And a lot of people have said they think it's a dream sequence. And I'm actually kind of curious, too, because it's like, I was thinking, oh, maybe, like, they're having a flashback to Betty and Archie as kids or something. But no, because, you know, there's no little kids on set, and it's KJ and Lily filming as themselves. So, you know, it couldn't be that. And a dream sequence would make sense, but it's like, why would he dream of a pool party? Like, or of a pool party. Why would he dream of that? Maybe, like, maybe before Betty left that summer and before Archie started hooking up with Miss Grundy, maybe they had this pool party and, you know, Archie's kind of dreaming about that, you know? I don't really know. Like, I'm so curious with this pool party because, like, it makes no sense because it's like, if it's a dream sequence, why is he having a dream about a pool party? Like, what happened at this pool party exactly? It had to be something that is important enough to include in the first episode, you know? And because there's no way he's, like, out of fucking jail and just at a pool party, like, nothing's happening. So I definitely think that's interesting. I can't wait to see, like I want to know what episode 1's about, so then I can get a better idea of what exactly everything that's been posted and stuff it means, because as of right now, I guess the pool party is a dream sequence, but to what and why, and, like, so I'm very curious about that. I mean, and they're, uh, yeah, so I'm very curious about that. So yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about, was the Archie becoming a serpent, the pool party thing. I don't know, how do you guys feel? Like, do you want Archie to be a serpent or no? Like, I don't know, I don't think Archie should be a serpent. It's simple as that. I'm sorry, it's just not his path. It's just not. I don't see it being his path at all. I don't. And like I said with Betty, I don't see it being her path or Kevin's, you know, I don't see it being their path. Of course, Kevin has a thing for the bad boys, you know, the serpents, which, hey, all for that, because I would be too. Same thing. But, yeah, I honestly, when it comes down to it, I see Jughead, of course, being a serpent, which, of course, that was given. I see Cheryl being a serpent, which makes so much fucking sense. It really, really does. Like, don't come at me with the whole, oh, she just joined because of Tony. No, she did not. But, and Veronica, I could see her being a serpent at one point. I totally could see her being a serpent at one point. If not, so what? You know, not Biggie. But I could see her being a serpent at one point. But Archie and Betty and stuff and the rest, they're not serpents, you know? That's not their storyline. They're not. And I just, like, yeah, being a part of the serpent, like, group, you know, the serpent family, is just not Archie's path. It's not, you know, he has way too much shit going on right now that he should not even be thinking about being a serpent. So, yeah, that's what I wanted to say. I want to give my little opinion on it. But yeah, I'll wait until we get more, and then once we find out what episode 1's about, it'll be a lot easier to understand kind of what's going on. Because as of right now, a lot of things are coming out, and it's like, oh my god, what's happening? We're getting possibly Archie as a serpent, we're getting a pool party that could be a dream sequence, who knows what's going on. So I'm excited to see what happens. I can't wait for season 3. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and